Hello, my friend. Welcome here. I'm Aimee Esther, and I live with multiple chronic illnesses, including Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia syndrome, or POTS. Now, if you are newly diagnosed with POTS, then this is the video for you. If you want advice from someone who has lived with it for many years, who is pretty much an expert on all things POTS and how to live with it and live an amazing life with it, then you are definitely in the right place. So I want to start by saying I'm not a doctor. I am not here to treat you. I'm not here to diagnose you. I'm not here for anything except to share my experience as someone who lives with POTS. So please consult your doctor before you do anything. So first, you need to download my free chronic illness newbie booklet. This will give you all the essentials you will need to start this world of chronic illness. And maybe you've been dealing with symptoms for a long time, but you're just getting your diagnosis. Even if that's the case, this workbook will really help you. It includes my symptom tracker, things to talk about with your doctor, and so much more, and it's completely free. So link in the description to download that below. So let's get right into the tips. So the first thing I recommend if you just got diagnosed with POTS is to do your research. Learn as much as you can about it. Watch all the videos. Learn from people who have gone through it. Learn from experts and from doctors. Learn how your body works. Why is it not working like it's supposed to? What is POTS? What is it doing inside your body? Learn all the things. I highly recommend going to dysautonomiainternational.org. They have a lot of good information. They also put on conferences every single year. They've done virtual conferences, in-person conferences, and they bring experts who know what they're talking about. Now, the second thing I recommend is not what you think. It has nothing to do with your physical health. It actually has to do with your mental health. Next is to find support. Find someone to talk to, because talk therapy is huge. Talking to someone makes a big difference because this is a hard battle. It is emotionally draining to live with symptoms all day long, to live with pain and fatigue and dizziness and all the things that come with POTS. It's exhausting physically and it's exhausting mentally. And I think so often people focus on how to treat it physically, how to decrease your symptoms, what medications to take, go to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. Those things are great. We're going to talk about those. We're going to do those things. But also, more important than that, is focusing on your mental health. Can you cope with this challenge of living chronically ill? Can you cope with these symptoms and dealing with them every day? Can you cope with having to quit your job or having to change the way you do your daily tasks because of this illness? How do you deal with the mental side of it? That to me is the most important. So a few things I recommend. One, someone to talk to. That could be a support group. Maybe it's a Facebook group. Maybe you go see a counselor or some kind of therapist. You can go to a coach. I actually do life coaching myself, and I love working with people who suffer with chronic illness. That's my specialty, is how can we help you live the most amazing life while living chronically ill? How can we help you find your purpose and your meaning and your joy despite these extra challenges? So I will link my coaching information down below. You can set up a free call with me to see if we're a good fit together. But if I'm not the coach for you, find someone who is. And whatever else you need to do to cope with the mental side of the pain and the fatigue and the dizziness and the stress and all the things that come with POTS, you need a way to deal with that. Maybe you need to start doing yoga. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you need to just listen to a good podcast or someone who inspires you. We're going to move on to physical symptoms, what to do. So, of course, find a knowledgeable doctor. Find a doctor that knows about POTS. Find a doctor that you trust and that you like. And keep looking till you find a good one. You might have to go through a few doctors till you find one. And another way that you can find a good doctor is going to a Facebook group in your area. I live in Utah, and I know there's a Utah POTS group or Utah Dysautonomia group on Facebook, and I can just go there and type in, hey, anybody have a good doctor recommendation in this county, in this area where I live? And other people who live in my area can help me out with that. Next is to just try different treatments. Try all the things. You've got to try things to see what works. Everybody is different. Everybody who has POTS is different. There are many things that I would recommend to anyone who has POTS. I have a whole video about how I have managed my POTS naturally, how I treat it naturally. I will link that down below. However, you might be different. Some things might work for you that don't work for me, and some things might work for me that don't work for you. So try many different things. My biggest advice is to wear compression socks. That is personally what's helped me the most. More details in that video, as well as increasing water and salt. Those are kind of the typical 3 things that people would recommend for anyone who has POTS, but then there's many other things that may or may not work for you, such as diet, such as medication, such as your sleep habits, such as your stress levels, such as how hot or cold the environment is you live in. And everybody is a little bit different. So you want to really take a look at your triggers. See if you can figure out what is triggering you. Is it stress? Is it sleep? Is it food? Is it laying around too much? Is it being too active? Is it missing an exercise day? Is it exercising too much, right? We all have our own things that will trigger it. My biggest advice for that is to stop being in a race to find the answer today, because I think that was one thing that I did when I first got diagnosed. Is I did all the research, I looked at all the things, and then I tried everything at once, but then I didn't really know what was helping and what wasn't because I tried everything. I was in a hurry to figure out what it was, and so I just spent all the money, all the time to try to do all the things at once. What if instead we took it one thing at a time? What if we tried compression socks for the month and we see if those make a difference? And after we try compression socks, then we try increasing our water and salt and we see if that makes a difference. And then we try changing our diet for a month. We check different foods. Does gluten make us worse? Does dairy make us worse? Does sugar make us worse? And we try those each separately, slowly over time, instead of, I'm going to just cut out all foods that anybody has ever said are bad for POTS or inflammation or whatever, and I'm also going to take all these supplements, and I'm also going to do these medications. Like, no, friend, let's take it slow, okay? Let's, instead of being in a race, let's be on a journey. And we'll do this together. I'm on this with you. I'm still figuring out what works for me. And it's because I was in a race for so long. I was trying everything at once that now I still don't fully know what foods are the best for me and what exercise routine is the best for me. I'm still figuring those things out. But as I do it slowly and I'm not in a race and I'm giving my body and my mind time to cope with all the things that are happening, then I will be able to find what works for me and what doesn't, and what triggers me and what doesn't, and what I can handle and what I can't. Which leads me into the last thing I want to say, which is you can still live an amazing life with POTS. Did you know that? I know if you've just been diagnosed, you're stressed and overwhelmed and you're thinking like, why is this happening to me? I wish I didn't have this. I wish it would just go away. I wish I could just find the answer. I wish Aimee would just tell me if you do this thing, your POTS symptoms will be gone. It's been 7 years for me, still figuring it out. Okay, my friend. But what I will say is your life is not over. This is not the end. This is not where misery starts and your joy is gone. What if, this is just crazy, what if life was actually going to be better now? What if that was true? What if your life wasn't ruined? It was just different than you thought it would be. What if it's actually in the end going to be way better than you ever could have imagined? That's what I believe. That with my chronic illness, with my POTS, with all the other things going on in my body, that it's actually going to give me the most amazing life ever. And I'm so excited to see what it is. So what if this could be the best thing that ever happened to you? I know it's crazy. Maybe that's a stretch for you right now, and that's okay. But I want you to know your life is not over. I am proof that you can live an amazing, beautiful life while living chronically ill. And you can find joy and happiness even when you have something such as postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome that is hard and overwhelming and painful. You can still live an amazing life. So my friend, get out there, try some new things, let me know how it goes. Don't forget to subscribe, especially if you have POTS, because we are learning here on my channel how to live the most amazing life with chronic illness. And I'll see you on the next one.